Hello everyone, my name is Castillo. I am a doctor and an ophthalmologist, and I did a master in public health a while ago, about 10 years ago. So I've been working with randomized controlled trial projects, systematic reviews, and while working with this area of academia, I was involved with some of the projects with epigenetics. So we're going to be talking about aging process and the role of epigenetics, focusing particularly on weight management. We all know that obesity represents a public health problem worldwide. Also, there is almost 30% of adults in England that are obese and more than 36 that are overweight. As a background information, I would like to let you know that the term of epigenetics started around 30 years ago, and it was kind of a paradigm for medical students and doctors and everyone that were involved in the medical field, that the DNA was an unmodified material, which basically defined all our traits, features, characteristics that are passed on to us from generations. So researchers started to investigate at some of the cases, such as, for example, identical twins who had the same DNA, but they lived differently, aged differently, and developed different diseases. So why did this happen? As identical twins have the same DNA, it was obvious and well known at that time that the DNA could not be modified except via mutations. So researchers developed interest in studying external factors which could influence the gene expression. That then gave origin to the name of epigenetics, meaning epi on top of the genetics. So scientists believe that cancer cells, for example, were originated from aging cells. And later it was shown that cancer cells were not related to aging. So this research field was in a way abandoned. However, cancer and epigenetic research continued until now, and it is currently important in many medical subspecialties. Epigenetic in oncology has developed nowadays some cancer therapies that consider epigenetic factors as part of the treatment. And the area of aging and epigenetic research was, in a way, not well developed. So epigenetic can change our gene expression. And as we know, the sequence of DNA may not be affected by our environment, and the way the genes worked, which is called gene expression, can be affected. So environmental factors such as food, drugs, or exposure to toxins, we know that can cause epigenetic changes by altering the way the molecule of DNA binds, or changing the structure of the proteins that DNA wraps around. So for the first time, people started to talk about epigenetic and the way genes express themselves in our energy levels, in our metabolism. And in 2010, the front cover of this magazine, Time, showed, rather than a face, a famous face, it shows the DNA structure. The concept of epigenetic at this time was presented, and further research for various diseases treatments developed after this. And it was found that epigenetic produced chemical marks on the DNA other than the changes in the DNA sequence. So which aspects can be modified at the epigenetic level? For example, we know that the determination of sex on the embryos, the memory, propensity to addiction, prostate cancer, among other type of cancers, autoimmune diseases, psychiatric disorders like depression, anxiety, and phobias, neurologic and neurodegenerative diseases are influenced by, for example, gluten-free diets, tendency to obesity, and in general, the aging process at multiple levels, for example, at the skin level, energy level, metabolism, and the way that the fat distributes in our body. Then a pioneer research lab developed epigenetic and aging research field. So how can we change the expression of these aging genes using epigenetic science in a way that we can have more energy and our body doesn't change as we age, and we do not develop some of these illnesses that we just mentioned, like cancer, etc. So researchers started to isolate all the genes related to aging, and there were, as we see in the slide, a cluster of 52 genes. And nowadays we know that more than 250 genes are related to aging, and they have been identified as gene clusters. Once researchers identify specific clusters of genes related to weight control, such as metabolism, body fat deposits, mindset, then this lab started to run trials in which they exposed this cluster to well-known natural ingredients, generally used in ancient Chinese medicine, like, for example, sanguine, orange, and many others. As people age and get older, fat cells distribute in our body in places that it didn't when we were younger, for example, in the belly or in the hips. So scientists use different natural substances on these gene clusters that were related to this type of fat storage. And those genes started to change and changed the way that fat was storing in our body. This was a really huge revolution at a scientific level, and it was published at the Gordon Conference. For those that are not related to this medical area, the Gordon Conference is like the Nobel Prize in the area, but in the area of medicine. So once reviewed, accepted, and shown at this conference, these received them for a high standard scientific validation within the scientific community. So this is Dr. Chan, one of the founders of this lab that we're talking about, Nuskin Pharmanex lab. He used to work in a research lab developing drugs to reduce organ transplant rejections. So Dr. Chan decided to make use of his knowledge and lab experience in order to develop a natural product to prevent rather than treating illnesses. At this point, the philosophy about the use of natural therapies to prevent illnesses began, and also studies about aspects of aging, such as the decrease of energy levels and other signs linked to aging. Here we have some of his research collaborators who start working with him. So you can see high standard professionals such as worldly important immunologists, pharmacologists, dermatologists, and many other specialties in the medical field. These doctors were really well known, and they started to collaborate with Dr. Chan in the research work, and they work in the foundation of this laboratory. Nowadays, we have more than 75 in-house scientists. So here we have a few of the many published papers and awards received. The core of this laboratory, as we know, is innovation and development. So they keep innovating natural formulas, and the aim is to improve longevity, quality of life, and appearance. So with all this scientific breakthrough, this laboratory developed a patent called AgeLock. And these more than 22 patents based on natural ingredients in order to revert certain aspects of aging. Today, we focus, as I said, in weight management. And we're talking about this program, TR90. So the cluster of genes related to the weight management have three main weight control factors. Those are the metabolism, the muscular mass, and the mindset. So as we get older, our basal metabolism starts to slow down. And this means that when we are resting, we're burning a number of calories. When we reach the age of 45 or 50 years old, our metabolism slows down around 30%. This means that even eating the same amount of food will put on weight because our metabolism has slowed down and calories burned are less as we get older. This is one of the key aspects in which epigenetic can help to modify gene expression. An age-log pattern has studied those genes associated to metabolism and how can these gene expressions can be restored so to increase our metabolism as it was then when we were younger. How does this work? This is achieved by increasing or maintaining our muscles. As some of you probably know, our basal metabolic rate is always higher in muscles. Having said that, as we age, our muscles mass decrease and our fat storage increases. So if researchers manage to restore the way genes are expressing, so to restore our muscle mass as when we were younger, then our basal metabolic rate could then increase and calories burned while at rest would be higher and weight management improved in general. But there is a more important part because we can have all this scientific base of controlling our weight at epigenetic level, but there is something that is equally important, which is controlling our mindset. And we know, as the slide shows this lady really tired, that when we are starting on a diet, we feel a bit down with low energy, headaches, feeling blue. Sometimes we feel like with cravings more than before. If we're not focused or with a willpower not strong enough, then we start the crooked thinking. We start dieting many times, and finally we never complete any nutritional plan. So this was another challenge area for the epigenetic that could improve the way we feel. So this research identified genes related to our mindset and those natural products which help to change to a more positive mindset. So people could find themselves with determination to face a nutritional program, to start a diet, to transform their bodies. So epigenetic works in terms of determination, avoiding cravings, improving the low mood, the lightheaded. And so the first 15 days of the program will give you a good start point in this area. The fact that you have a positive mindset to undertake this program will help you to change eating habits and so able to enjoy it and keep your improved body shape with a fit body, but also improve eating habits that will maintain our body healthy. The problem with some traditional diets is that once you say, okay, I'm going to start the diet, but then what happens is that we finish the diet and then we gain that weight back again. And that's why, because in these traditional diets, we might lose weight because we lose water, muscle, and fat. When losing muscle, we know already that what happened when the diet is finished, and eating normal portions or even eating smaller ones, small portions, people put more weight on due to age plus slow metabolism. And this is well known as bounce back effect or yo-yo effect. We can see that in the graph, initial weight, and then it goes down, but it goes up and then down and up. And every time it goes up, it goes upper than before. So this is a real problem for our body. And this is the second part that these scientists have taken into account while developing this program, TR90, taking into account that the genes related to increase of muscle mass index. So we can lose fat without losing muscle. The muscle mass kept, or depending on the person level of exercise or training, it can even increase, will prevent the bounce back effect. It is not about losing weight because major changes will be noticed in our body measures rather than changes in the scale. It's important to note that muscle tissues weigh more than fatty tissues. So that's something to consider while doing this program. So this program is about transformation that goes far beyond traditional diets, as this program is based on epigenetics that will produce outcomes such as more active basal metabolic rate, increase or maintain our muscular body mass, and acquire healthier eating habits. So you can see here the diagram regarding fat and muscle mass, and on the left side, traditional programs, and in the right side, we can see the TR90 effect, in which the basal metabolic rate increase due to maintaining or increasing the muscle mass in our body. So TR90, transformation in 90 days, is not a program only for obese or overweight people. It also works nicely on slim persons. It doesn't matter if the person is thin, and even if even being a very slim person, they can experience fat storage increase in some areas of their body. So I think everyone wants to improve their body shape to a more athletic body and avoid localized fat accumulation due to age. This program is not a diet, but a transformational program at a genetic level. John Shan, a pioneer who said, the ability to burn fat needs to be greater than the ability to store it. So in that sense, my personal experience with the program has been really fantastic in terms of regulation of the glucose level in my results, lab results, and also cholesterol levels, and the motivation to carry on the program was really outstanding. So thank you very much for listening, and I will pass on to my colleague Paula for listening her experience.